Welcome everyone to another live stream drawing session here. My name is Matthew Archambault from drawingtutorialsonline.com. In today's class, we're going to be studying some parts of the Charles Dana Gibson Girls. I really love the way that Charles Dana Gibson draws facial features. I've never really studied them in depth, and I think this would be a wonderful opportunity for us to do that together. Okay. Now, I've been so busy like prepping for all of this that I completely forgot to send out an email reminder that, hey, we're going live, people. And so if you miss that, you should definitely click on the bell notifications thing on YouTube in case I do completely forget to send out an email notification. That would be helpful so you can actually know when I'm going live. And it would be helpful if I would cut out a little time to actually send an email out to my subscribers. Yeah, that would be good. Okay, so I've got like a bunch of Charles Dana Gibson images, and we'll just kind of have a fun session today. Now, if you're joining me live, let me know how this sounds, okay? Does it sound the way that it normally sounds with that nice deep microphone sound? Or does it sound like echoey and tinny? That would be really super duper helpful. Okay, so enough talking. I'm going to get started here, and I'm going to grab a really, wow, this paper is super thin. This is like a 50-pound paper. I got to move my hand around the paper. Just do a quick like little warm-up first, and then we'll start drawing these Gibson girls. So at least parts of their face, which are quite beautiful. Okay. So with that being said, let's get to drawing. So I'm going to, let me see here, yeah. Oh, wow. Okay, good. Wow. Well, no, I don't like that view. Let's go to the Gib Girl 1. All right. So before we get to this Gib Girl 1, let me just start to do some warming up. Okay, it's a little dark in my studio, even with all of my lights on. We're supposed to get like a little bit of a storm tomorrow, so the clouds are rolling in. It's dark. Okay, so let's do this, people. I'm going to do my ovals. Okay, my fingers feel like concrete. Oh my God. Okay, how am I going to do this today? We're going to try our best to draw today. Okay, so this is a good way for me to warm up. Welcome, Sandy. Good. And Vanderwolf, welcome. I appreciate that. Lenny Danger. Yeah, starting to feel a little bit better. I thank you for that. Last week was rough. Oh, my God. Okay. So, yeah, all right. Ovals warming up. Now I'm going to do some torsos, some torso peanut shapes. All right, just like that. I'm not lifting my pencil off of the paper. I'm just kind of doing this. Another like little circle over here. And now maybe what I can do is just go a little bit meaningful or intentional. Maybe I'll just do two ovals together with an ear shape, with an eye socket, with a nose, with some lips, with an eye socket that has tone. Just kind of mucking around over here, a little nose, maybe like a little bit of a neck. And then I'm just going to do a shape that is kind of almost looking like a weird letter. And then I'm going to just try to match the shape. I think this should be a pivotal part of your warm-up session. And good. So, all right. We just did that quickly, and it's not perfect, but it's a good thing to do for your warm-up session. Okay. So what else can I do here for my warm-up session? Well, I'll maybe go right over here, and I'll just do a quick line of action pose. And, yeah, foot, head, shoulders, sacrum, butt, arm, hip. Oh, I just lifted my pencil off the paper. Terrible. Okay. Leg's too short. Terrible. Okay, let's make that leg a little bit longer. And now let's just kind of go around, go around, go around, go around. And cool. that's my little warm-up page. And it's just a routine. And I think it's really vital that you have your warm-up routine. And then if I wanted to now, I can just, I'm feeling a little bit better now that I've put some pencil on the paper. And now I can get like a thicker line. And that's a big part of drawing thicker and thin line. I never really had my line class on YouTube. It's a very, very valuable class. I don't know if I want to go there on YouTube, give away all my trade secrets of when to use dark line and when not to, but I've given away so many trade secrets. Okay, so you probably know every single one here on YouTube, so no worries, no worries. Let's get started. Okay, let me resharpen the pencil. There are no trade secrets. Everybody has taught everything there is to teach on YouTube. Absolutely, tootly. Okay, so Gibson Girl. Okay, so let me mark where I have to draw. Okay, and let's come over here. And I'm just marking the bottom. Cool. So let me get a little closer here. So Gibson Girl. Okay, so I'm gonna start at her right eye, the left side of this portrait drawing. And first, let's just try to draw the lines to the left of the left side of the drawing. Just follow along with me. It's a little complicated, me explaining this. So I'm just going to do these lines. And I'm not worried about being perfect today. So now that is the part of the eyebrow that tilts. And wow, this is so far away from me. Jesus, did I really have to start so far away? And this is so damn small. Okay, so not a good YouTube start, Matt. Gee whiz. Okay, let me zoom in a little bit. I'm trying to use the full paper. So I am going to expand, if you can just kind of bear with me. So now the eyebrow is not round. It's a few thick lines like that. I'm going to go a little thicker here. I'm adding lines, okay? And then there's those lines above the eyelid, and then there's these lines here going on the diagonal at the side of the eye socket bridge of the nose. Okay. So now I could go darker with that eyebrow, but let's just leave it for now. So right over here, Charles Dana Gibson used an angle for the upper eyelid, an angle for the side of the eyelid, and then another angle for that part of the eyelid. So oh God, let me just use this as a scrap piece of paper. So far, what Charles Dana Gibson is not doing is not making a round eyebrow. It's angular. What else, Charles Dana Gibson? I need to shorten that. Charles Dana, CDG. CDG. What CDG did was not do an almond shape for the eyelid. Okay, this is part of the reason why. Hey, Phoenix, this is part of the reason why I kind of wanted to do this class today, is because there's a lot of people who upload on my website, and they're wonderful artists and they're wonderful people, and I'm doing my best to help everybody get better with their drawing skills. But this is the number one culprit for when people draw eyes. They do not draw angles. They draw these round eyebrows, always round lid like that. And that's appropriate sometimes, but not every time. Let's get back to the Charles Dana Gibson. So then what we see is the lash area. So with the lash area, it's the same thing, people on YouTube. It's a thicker line now, so it's much thicker, okay? And it's angles right there. And then this is interesting. There's another angle right over there. Okay. So I'm going to resharpen my pencil. Now, this is, I say this all the time. Make your lash line thick. Do not. Okay, let's go back to this drawing. And I talked about this last week because, look, I've got these eyelashes over here, right? But we don't want to draw the eyelashes like this. There's none of that. There's none of that on these Charles Dana Gibson drawings, okay? Yeah, so if this becomes a habit when you draw these eyelashes going like that, you need to break that habit, okay? I'm not saying never. There's no such thing as never, but just be careful. So there's a little bit of this coming down. And wow, okay, so I really wanted to draw the Charles Dana Gibson today because I want to just try to learn some new stuff and just learn and by looking. And I always tell my students in portrait drawing class, don't do anything on the lower eyelid. Don't do anything on the lower eyelid because that makes the person look older. But quite frankly, like this lower eyelash, maybe there's like a little makeup on the lower eyelash. I actually like that. I do. I might start incorporating this now into my lessons where but you got to understand, it's not going all the way across. It's just on the outer half of the lower eyelid where the lashes are a little bit thicker, but not as thick as the upper lash. So now, look, this eye, you look out that negative space. We don't need to be perfect with this. I'm not worried about likeness today. I'm worried about technique. So I'm going to just make this eye come in. The lash blends with the dark pupil. The pupil is pretty large. We're going to leave a little highlight area there, and we're going to go darker with the edge of the iris. And then what I see are a couple of those lines that are kind of going like that. And I kind of drew the eye a little bit too tall. So the likeness in me is having like an allergic reaction to my drawing right now. But let's just leave it and move on. So what I love about this is that the pupil / iris blends in with the lash, and that's something you need to do. So a little bit at the tear duct, and then this is something that I never do. I never do these lines on the lower eyelid like this. So I just wanted to try it out and see what it would be like to do that. And you see, I'm kind of apprehensive. I kind of don't want to do that. I definitely actually don't want to put those lines there because I've created my own habits where I don't like to put stuff on lower eyelids because I feel it makes the model look older, tired, and older and tired. That's it in a nutshell. So that consider that like my warm-up drawing, and I could go a little darker over here. I could make these lines thicker. And so what did we learn about this? What did I learn? And I learned that it's okay to do a little information on the lower eyelid as long as you keep it to the outer portion of the eye. What I also learned is that it's definitely minimalistic what Charles Dana Gibson is doing over here, and I really love it. So now if we come down to the side of the nose, a couple of lines like that. Now, what I've also learned is that Charles Dana Gibson's lines are a whole lot more graceful than mine. And mine, I got a little chicken scratchy over here, so shame on me. Okay, so, but we learned, and this is what I want you to take away from the class. Do not always draw round eyebrows. I'm telling you, people, do not always draw round eyes, the almond-shaped eye. And you do not need to draw individual eyelashes. Now, listen, there's a time and a place for everything. If you're one of these people who is doing like these 100-hour charcoal pencil drawings where I see this on YouTube. I don't know how these people do it. Like my arm would be falling off if I did like a pencil graphite charcoal drawing for like 100 hours, and I'm drawing every single eyelash. I mean, I used to do that when I was in my 20s and 30s, but yeah, I'm older now, so I don't want to do that. Now, okay, so Batman 99. Can you tell me more about Charles Dana Gibson? I don't know who that is. So let me see here. Okay, timeout. Now, I'm not an art historian. I just know that he's an illustrator, turn of the century illustrator, and he's famous for the Gibson Girls. And I can't really do a screen grab right now in the middle of like this live stream because the way that I've shortened and made my Chrome window very, very small so I can actually see comments. And sir, my man, welcome. Sheer, my man, welcome. So maybe at the end of the video. Now, in shame on me, I didn't do my homework with Charles Dana Gibson. I just know the Gibson Girls. And I also know Charles Dana Gibson did beautiful, beautiful, beautiful compositions. And let me just try one thing here. It's going to fuck everything up, but I'm just curious. So if I go to this, my default scene, and I share my screen. Okay, good enough. And I go to this. This is a pretty good, let's see here. So right over here, it's Charles Dana Gibson was born in 1867. So wow. He created the Gibson Girl, so I got that right. Yeah, okay. Just a real well-known illustrator from the turn of the century, and good stuff. You should come here and read this. So this is en.wikipedia.org//wiki/Charles Dana Gibson. I'll put this in the comments in the description after the live stream if you want to go take it upon yourself to do like a little bit of research. Okay, I did. So let's stop this and let's go back to the video. Okay. Now, I just know of Charles Dana Gibson because I have this wonderful book. I got it like when I was in high school, and it was like 7 famous illustrators in there, and Charles Dana Gibson was in the book, along with Maxfield Parrish, Norman Rockwell, Howard Pyle, and all these people, and that book was invaluable to me. Okay, so let's draw this nose. I absolutely love the nose. It's freaking phenomenal, and I would never draw the nose this way. Another reason why I wanted to do this, because I want to learn new stuff too, right? I don't want to be a one-hit wonder. Now, again, I'm not concerning myself with the measurements today. I'm just not. I'm just trying to look at pencil stroke direction. So check this out. Now, what you want to do first, with that being said, look at the distance from the top shadow of the nose to the tear duct. How far away is that? It's pretty doggone close. So now look at what Charles Dana Gibson did. This line is terrible, ugly. So comes down, and loops around the nose. God, I hate the way that I drew that. Let's keep going. And then down. I just need to be a little bit more forceful. That's what I need. I'm being too timid with it. I'm trying to be perfect, and there's no such thing as perfect. So, okay, let's do where the nose touches the face with that little dark. And then, yes, this goes against what I teach in my portrait drawing class. And what I teach is do not make the nostrils black. I do not want to draw attention to the model's nostrils, and Charles Dana Gibson is actually doing that. And the nostrils are black, and I just don't do that. And so, interesting. So it's always good to try to do things that you don't do, to get out of your comfort zone. Even myself, I'm really cool with this because I can bring this and use it and new things to teach. So new ways to draw. So I look at this shadow under the nose. Another thing that I never, ever, ever do is shadow under the nose like that. So I'm going to draw that. I've got to draw that again. I just did horrendously over there. But okay, it is what it is. So do you see what Charles Dana Gibson did? So going, looping around, the accents, the dark nostrils, a little of the dimple above the lip. And now look, another thing I'll never do. I never just completely shade the upper lip like this. So let's try to draw this. So angle up, angle down, angle up, angle down. Okay. And now angling down. So what Charles Dana Gibson is doing is going angle, 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 filling in the lip with the idea of different things should have different values. Okay, I drew that lip a little bit too wide. Now, what I always say to my students in class is don't draw the lower lip. Draw the shadow under the lower lip. But again, Charles Dana Gibson is drawing the lower lip with the same form lines. Interesting. And then he is putting in 1, 2, 3 lines to show under the lip. So now look, thicker line where the lips touch. Okay. So I'm not loving what I'm doing, but I really just need to get out of my own head and out of my own ego and just deal with it. And understand that I'm not going to match the elegantness of CDG. Why can't I say that? Charles Dana Gibson's line in with my strokes. Yeah. Now, what I learned about Charles Dana Gibson is that there's a pencil drawing under the pen and ink, which is very cool. Sir, my man. Okay, love it. Love it. Thank you for the correction. So now another thing that I think is really cool with the Charles Dana Gibson is that, and I could fix this. We can make this a little bit more thick, and I love that. Now, what a lot of people do, I'm just telling you what I see, because I see a lot with all the students online and all my students in the classroom, is a lot of students actually come on down and outline. I'm not joking. This is a legit thing. Outline both sides of the nose. You do not want to do that. And a lot of students, when they draw the side of the face, will do lines like this. These are horizontal lines. There's a time and a place for that. But now look at the way Charles Dana Gibson does the side of the face. The lines are coming down like this. Okay, that, in my opinion, is what you want to adopt into your skill set, to come down like that with your line. Isn't that gorgeous? Like, it's showing the side of the face, and look, this is showing the temple. I think what's better for me, what I just noticed, is when my pencil is duller, I get a thicker line. And it looks better. It just simply looks better than a thinner, more sharpened pencil for this. So I'm learning, okay? So I'm going to write at the top of my page, thicker pencil is best for this. Okay. And yeah, I'm loving it. I'm loving it. Going around like that. That's cool. So, okay. Questions. Does anybody have any questions? That was fun. Should we do another one? How many people we got on the live stream here today? Considering I didn't send out a flippin' email. Okay, I thank every 27 of you for joining me. I appreciate you spending your time on this Tuesday morning to join me on this live. Oh, it's 26. I shouldn't have said anything. Okay, let's do another one. Let's do another one. Let's look at. Ooh, look at that! Isn't that beautiful? That's beautiful. Okay. So I'm going to just crowd these all in. I'm going to try my best. It might look a little weird, but okay. Let me move this over here. Good. Let me tape this piece of paper down so it doesn't move. Cool. Okay. Oh my God, these eyes are amazing. Now, look. Do I have enough room if I draw it over here? I'm thinking, don't think, Matt, just draw. Let me find this on my iPad. I'm using my iPad for reference. Oop. There she is. So I'm going to draw the left eye again, her right, just to show you repetition is the mother of skill. Okay, so my pencil's a little sharp. Shame on me. It needs to be thicker. So look. The eyebrow turns down, and now the eyebrow is straight. 1, 3. There's 3 lines for the eyebrow. Charles Dana Gibson did that on the other one. Okay. And same thing over here. So that's repetition. It's just this line is thicker. Okay, so 3 lines for the eyebrow is pretty consistent, and I'm going to go a little wider with the eyebrow. Awesome. And so now what is also consistent is that Charles Dana Gibson is going around like that. And this is more, we can see the upper eyelid as like a ball shape. So, okay, consistent. I'm going to kick this out. Consistent. It's the same thing as the other one. Interesting. 1. There's a bunch of lines here, so I shouldn't count. Now, let's get, how far away are the lashes from the brow? Pretty far away. So there's like 4 lines there. I should zoom in a little bit so I can see it. Go across. Thick lash. It's the same thing that we just did to the tear duct. The eye blends in more so on this one with the lash. Very beautiful. Same thing. He's doing the same thing that he did on the other one. It's, I got my wife sick, so she's completely sick now, worse than me. So she's pissed. But she's taking it in stride. Lower eyelid. The Charles Dana Gibson is just doing the, Matt, keep the pencil. Don't keep sharpening it. Keep it thicker. Yes. And there's a couple of lines here. 1, 2, 3. And then there's directional lines on the lid showing that the lid is round. They're a little bit lighter. Interesting, interesting. And then a little bit on the side of the nose. 1, 2, 3. And a light line over here and a light 2 lines over here to show angles. Wow, that's pretty. That's okay. Very cool. Now, look, let's come down, and we're looking at the tip of the nose. It's the same thing now. Loops around, loops around, loops around. Goes up, goes up, goes up. Okay, it's like a V there at the tip of the nose. Okay, that's really interesting. And now he loops around the nose lobe, and yes, I made it too tall. Yes, there is a black nostril, which I never draw, ever. Interesting. And then that V's down, and then there's another nostril over here that is kind of like an oval shape. That's black. And then there's these lines that are indicating a short cast shadow underneath the nose. Mine looks horrendous. I didn't capture it, but this is the process. God, okay. Harder than I thought it was going to be to do this. And same thing now, same thing. The upper lip is shaded fully. It's not a wide lip at all. Angle, angle, angle. Let's angle down to the corner of the mouth. Angle down to the corner of the mouth. And look, Charles Dana Gibson is doing the same thing on these lips. Diagonal pencil stroke. I just went too wide with it. Diagonal pencil stroke. Diagonal pencil stroke. That's going around and under that lip. So, okay, I'm learning that this is hard, and it's not easy. Let me just look at the chat for a second. Should we use horizontal lines as opposed to vertical ones when we want to soften the form? I almost never I don't know what's wrong with me since I've started teaching the perspective class. Like, I am so anti horizontal lines. I think they are just so flat. There's a time and a place. I'm not saying never, but so far in every single line that we're trying to analyze from Charles Dana Gibson, there's not one really horizontal line, with the exception, you can say maybe the eyebrows are horizontal, right? But even on this model, there is, hi Elizabeth, on this model, there is these lines that are curving around the face, okay? There's no horizontal lines. Okay, let me use my scrap piece of paper. Let's go back to this face. So, and let's just put an eye over here. And another mistake, I'm going like over the top with my mistakes today. So mistakes that I see people do is they draw the iris as a full circle. That usually never happens. If you're surprised, yes. Now, listen, if this is the side of the face, do not go horizontal line like that. That does not work. Do not go horizontal line with the edge of the nose. In my opinion, let me phrase it that way. That does not work. That does not work. You want to go with the direction of the lay of the land. Now, when I say lay of the land, what the hell do I mean? I mean, if we have like a rolling hill, let me give it a frame. And another rolling hill, and then another rolling hill, and then another rolling hill. This is the lay of the land. The lines go around the land. I'm not stuck. I'm just trying to figure out design-wise which is the best way. So that's what I mean about lay of the land, where if you have like rolling hills, you want your lines to go around those rolling hills. Okay. Now, the opposite of this would be the horizontal, and you have like a hill in the background, then you have a horizontal, and then your land is horizontal. That would be like somewhere in Nevada, and it's beautiful, but it's just flat. Totally. Does that make sense to everybody? Does anybody have any questions? Okie dokie. Let me get a drink of water here. Let's do another face, or part of the face. 1 second. Thank you, Elizabeth. Ooh, I love this one. I love this one. Okay. I'm going to try to draw this on the same sheet of paper. I'm trying not to, I have a profile, but I'm just trying not to draw a profile because we did do that last week. And maybe at the end of the drawing, at the end of the live stream, I'll try to draw some facial features out of my imagination without using the Charles Dana Gibson technique. Okay. Oh, wow. Look at this face. Are you kidding me? That is beautiful. Gee whiz. Okay. Okay. I really need to blow my nose. I'm still not 100% with this. Okay. I do not want to blow my nose on YouTube. I do not want to blow my nose on YouTube today. All right. I need to get up off of this chair for a split second, and I need to blow my nose. Okay. I'm going to put this here so this doesn't freak out your eyes. And then when we come back in a grand total of 30 seconds, look, I got my napkins. Okay. Bought this for school, the pocket pack. It's blowing my nose all freaking week. Okay. Hold on. I will be right back. Okay, sorry. I figured while I was up, I might as well just go to the bathroom. Okay. All right, let's see. Let me look at the comments here. Nice. Focus is not, that's a whole nother topic. Focus is, it's hard for me to teach people about focus because I don't want to sound like a hypocrite, because there are times when I've been extremely focused and there have been times where I've been extremely distracted. So I think in today's day and age, let me just talk about this and then we'll draw. Give me like 30 seconds just to give you my take on this question about focus. In today's day and age, with doom scrolling on Instagram, TikTok, whatever, your brain has been wired to not be focused, but to constantly get quick dopamine hits. And, I'm there too with y'all. In the past, before social media, I could focus like for hours. Now I could just sit down and paint for hours with music on in the background. And I could focus in the classroom when I'm drawing from the model. But it's when I'm in my studio and like I'll draw and then my iPad's right there, so I just go right to Instagram or something. It's just a habit. Like you need to slowly, say, okay, I'm gonna draw for 10 minutes. I'm gonna draw this thing, and I am not gonna be distracted. I'm gonna leave my phone outside of the room so I don't get distracted. You can't be unrealistic with yourself thinking that all of a sudden you're going to have all this focus where you can draw for an hour straight. That's not realistic. But yeah, so just do it, like build up over time, like another extra minute each day. I think we should draw her left eye, the right side of the drawing, because we've drawn 2 right eyes already. So let's do this. So do I have room? I could always zoom out. Let me get rid of this. I got tape on my finger. Funny. Okay. Okay, let's start here. So I love this eyebrow. It's so graceful. These lines are thinner. If you go too slow, I'm noticing it doesn't work. Okay, I'm going to use this eraser to get rid of that line. Okay, so what I noticed about this eyebrow is, and all eyebrows, and you gotta hear me out on this. You gotta hear me out. Eyebrows, I'm sorry, I'm repeating myself. Eyebrows are not round. They're not round when somebody is just looking naturally. They're angled, and they're angled in a manner that is, I call it 2/3 to 1/3 of length. So if this is the full length of the eyebrow, 2/3 of the length is angled a little bit flatter. 1/3 of the length is angled down the side of the face a little bit, where the face surface plane shifts. It's not round. It's not round. I'm telling you. I mean, can I draw a round eyebrow over here? I'll do it after. I don't want to do it now. Yes, let's get back to this eye. So now Charles Dana Gibson is doing the same thing. The eye socket shadow, I'm going to kind of outline that a little bit and then like that. Okay. Now, look at these 2 little horizontals under the eyebrow. They're just showing where the eyelid starts. And then these are angles, people. There's no straight there's no like super round. I love that. Now I'm keeping my pencil thick. So I'm going to now do my very best. Where is this part of the eye? It loops. Thicker lash. Thicker lash. Thicker on the outside of the eye, and then, wow, that's a sexy eye right there. Okay, and then the lower eyelid, and let's go into the tear duct. So now I'm going to use the thinner part of my pencil. Am I allowed to say sexy eye on YouTube? Am I going to get in trouble? No. Okay, sorry, I digress. Now, look, this eye is angles. Oh, God, that is cool. It's not round. It's just some of the lines are round. And I'm going to go back and make the eye look, lash area look a little thicker. Just time out. That's too long, Matt. Beautiful. I'm going to erase that because I want it to look pretty. If I can find my mono 0. Oh, it's beat up from the last session. Okay. Pupil is not a round thing. It's actually, this face is absolutely stunningly beautiful. It's actually angles. That's interesting. Interesting. And then there's the highlight in the middle, so I will outline that, and then I will shade around the outline of the highlight. And I'm going to go darker with everything, and my eye's not placed properly. Ugh. Okay, let's keep drawing. And now I'm going to go thicker, darker with this. Sorry, I know my hand might be in the way here. Let's see. Um, let's go thicker here. Oh, that is so pretty. Okay. And thicker. Wow, that line is thick. I'm not really an inker. Like there are people who are way better. I don't ink at all. Like I'm a beginner inker. So there are people on YouTube that probably kick my butt with inking. But I'm trying to draw in the style today of Charles Dana Gibson, but with a pencil, because a pencil is my dealio. That's what I'm good at, pencil. Okay, I'm good also with oil paint, but we're not going there right now. Okay, and couple of lines. I didn't capture the beauty in this eye. I butchered it. Oh, for the shame, for the love of God, for the shame of it all. Um, yeah, I butchered that eye. I'm gonna try to work it a little bit more without ruining it. Uh, I absolutely love the tear duct area. Love it. This is really thick. There's a couple of lines in the eye. I'm sure Charles Dana Gibson did them much faster and looser. Wow. Okay. I'm going to go darker here. And I'm going to go a little darker here. This kind of curves up. Okay. I'm going to leave that one like that. But that one's my favorite eye. It's just absolutely stunningly gorgeous, but I didn't capture it. I don't know if I gave it a lazy eye. Like lazy eyes could be deemed as like a sexy smoky eye from some people. Um, maybe it kind of almost looks like that. Like I did droop it a little bit more, perhaps, and you're correct. But it's kind of a different way for me to say it is. It's almost like it's a sultry eye, and that could be another way of like looking at it. And I dig it. I think it's really cool. Now I'm gonna move this over. I'm not saying I captured the likeness. That's not like my main intention today, is to copy these exactly. Like sometimes when you are drawing somebody, I'm sorry, I'm just trying to move this. It's like the paper's wrestling with me. Um, Sometimes when you're trying to learn from somebody who does these types of drawings with all of these lines, like in Alphonse Maria Mucha style, it's really difficult, like to try to copy all this like exactly. It's hard. It's super duper hard. So I'm gonna go to the bridge of the nose. How far away is that from the tear duct? Yeah, I am measuring because I do want to just see if I can't get this. So look, down the side. I don't think that's the right placement. Tip of the nose. Curve around, curve around, curve around. Let me erase that. And black nostril. Same thing. And black nostril. Same thing. Oh, wow. This is intense. 1, 2, 3. Look at these lines under the nose. I would never do that. Never. So I'm learning it's okay to do this. So far, what I don't like of how I'm drawing today is I just am not capturing the grace of the way that Charles Dana Gibson does the bottom of the nose. I'm just not there with it. I'm going to turn these into all S curves, and I'm learning a lot, and you know, I do like that I'm learning here today. Okay, interesting. So if I zoom out a little bit, and we look at those, the trends that I see, Charles Dana Gibson does not outline all the way across the lower eyelid. On all three of these drawings, this section of the lower eyelid is left empty. Charles Dana Gibson always goes thicker on the upper. They were drawn with pencil first, and then on top of the pencil went the ink. And I'll try to show you one drawing where you can actually see the pencil. And yeah, so, okay, so no information over here, very thick eyelash, horizontal lines going across for the eyebrow. Not afraid to do the black nostrils with some lines underneath the nose. Always shades the upper lip. Consistently always shades the upper lip. And sometimes shades the lower lip. So if we try now to do, let me zoom back in. There's more to it than that. I don't want to overtalk. I just want to draw for you. Let me put this back up higher so I can zoom in more. Just taping it down. I could do an oil painting study. I painted in oils for over 35 years of my adult life. And I just one day said, you know what? I don't want to do this anymore. And I stopped oil painting. But I periodically do oil painting on my website, DTO. I've got a whole course on my website of a lot of the stuff that I know about oil painting. It's just the videos are a little bit older. So they're smaller videos in terms of like the size of the videos, but they give away like a lot of very valuable information. I'm going to zoom in a little bit more. Big part of oil painting for me is value control and how you mix paint on the palette. People really struggle with oil painting because they mix paint with their brush and not with a palette knife, thus not mixing enough paint, thus creating mud on their palette as well as on their canvas because they have not mixed enough paint and they have not mixed a full value string of color. And that's the biggest thing that I see people get wrong with oil painting. It's a lot of it has to do with the palette. Okay, so let's see here. Charles Dana Gibson. Going to make that less wide. And the lower lip is a little lighter on this one, but check this out. Look at how it's darker here because the mouth is open a little bit. And now look, the lines are going around the lower lip. And here's the proverbial shadow under the lower lip. And the lines are going a little bit more horizontal, like an eyebrow. And over here, there's doing a little bit of line as well. So I'm not saying mine is great. I'm just trying to learn from looking at Charles Dana Gibson's line. This is something that I just stay away from at all costs, these lines under the nose of like that. I just don't like that, but it's totally working here. It's totally working. Notice they did not outline both sides of the nose, people. Okay. So let's get another picture, and then I'm gonna do maybe one more here, and then I'll try one out of my imagination. So Gib 4. Ooh, let me see what Gib 5 is. Ooh, that's pretty. I have so many. I'm going to be doing more of these on my Zoom class this afternoon for my members of DTO. We're going to be doing that one, full head, and zoomed in. We'll look at those features. We're also going to do this one later, maybe today. I haven't decided. There's also that one we might do. Hmm. Okay, so how we're into this live stream about an hour. Hi, Pencil Pages. So, where am I? I was going to answer that question. Should oil color be expensive? Because it's really expensive here. Okay, Omar, listen. So you could simply buy 2 to 5 tubes of paint and start oil painting in more of a monochromatic sort of way to make sure you like it before you go out and spend all this money on paint. The other thing with buying oil paint, I always use Winsor and Newton oil paints. Why? Because you can just get them everywhere. I didn't use any like really high end expensive brand. But with that being said, Winsor and Newton has the student grade oil paint. I think it's called Winton. It's been a while. And then they have their more professional. Truffles is doing good. Thank you for asking. And so you can also buy the cheaper grade of oil paints. They'll work for you. And so you can get into oil painting fairly inexpensively if you start painting monochromatically and with just a few tubes of paint. You buy the student grade oil paint, and you just I painted for 35 years plus, and I just used refined linseed oil. Like, I didn't get these crazy concoctions of like these secret mediums that people always are in search of. Like, what's the secret medium? I painted pretty good for 35 years using refined linseed oil, which is very simple. It's non-toxic, and yeah, you can really get into it inexpensively if you make good decisions about it. Okay, so what was I going to do next? I don't want to draw this one. I won't draw this one later. I will draw it now. I love this one. So the eyebrows are really high on this. I can't figure out this facial expression. Almost like it's a facial expression to me of like almost like giving up, very tired, and like, oh my God, not again. Woe is me, and I don't want to deal with this anymore. I'm done. To me, that's this facial expression. Let me move the piece of paper over so I have room to draw. Okay. So I'll start. Oh, let me get this on my iPad so I can see it. There it is. So now this is different. It could be the poor quality of, because sometimes you get a poor quality photo of artwork. Thicker. This feels way more like ink. Same thing now. Okay, so now I'm learning. These are surface planes lines. Let me just get this eye in, and then I'll answer a couple questions. Um, Lash. eye feels very closed. Notice on every one the eye and the lashes blend together. There's no difference. These lines need to be thicker. It's the same thing on every single one that I've drawn here on the live stream. They're all the same. Except this one has the thicker eyebrow. Notice how they're going down the face with the lay of the land, not horizontal. What about the nose? It's the same thing, people. 1, 2 lines. It's the same thing, everybody on YouTube. Going around, going around. Let's see if I can't draw this nose the way I like, the way Gibson's doing it. I haven't captured the nose properly yet. I'm using a dull pencil. Black nostrils all day long. Triangular. And diagonals under the nose all day long. I'll fully admit the noses are they're not hard to draw. They're hard to use the same line that Gibson is using with a pencil and try to make it look minimalistic. I haven't learned how to do that just yet. Okay, and now the lip. Same thing. They're not wide. The upper lip is shaded fully. And the lower lip is also shaded on this one, and the lines are going across like this. Interesting. And Charles Dana Gibson is very consistent with the upper lip having diagonal lines. Every single lip has diagonal lines. So now you've got to pull some of this and bring it into your artwork totally. I'm just finish this off. Ooh, this is pretty. I didn't capture it the way that I want to, but I still think it's kind of cool. All right. Let's see. Let me look at some of the chat, and I'm going to just move my sheet of paper so all these will hopefully be on the screen. We're close to it. What's the difference between Faber-Castell Polychromos and Prismacolor wax pencils? I do not know. I don't use those. I hope next time you do a study on Frank Frazetta. I used to love Frazetta when I was in college. Did Gibson ever use inks and dip? I'm going to say that Pencil Pages that I'm going to say this. I don't know. At the end of the live stream, we're going to go to a nice web page that has a lot of their work. It almost feels like a full portfolio. I don't know. I'm sure he used the dip pen with the ink. I don't know about charcoal. I'm not sure. If you can just bear with me, I want to go across my office here and get a book. This book is probably, oh my God, I'm old. It's probably like 40 years old. Holy shit. 1 second. Okay, time out, time out. Now, let me just see if I can't full. Yeah, okay. Oh. Okay, time out. Oh, Jesus. Okay, 1 second. Okay, I'm going to zoom out, people. This book is super heavy. Yeah, Charles Dana Gibson. I can't, let me just see something. Too much microphone in the scene. Okay. Let me move my iPad and sweet. Okay. Lots of beautiful compositions. I always hated these with the water and the waves. I didn't like that at all. This is what I really like. These are stunningly beautiful. These compositions. This is partially how I learned how to compose. Maybe we can have a class that talks about the compositional shape, the rhythm of the scene, the perspective of the scene, the value structure of the scene. There's a lot going on with those two. Those are gorgeous. Now, you got to understand, 1899, this is some old stuff, people. Old stuff. Yeah, the old man being annoyed of the young couple on the park bench. This is 1904. The old man serenading the younger woman. She doesn't look happy. Look at the trees. Wow, I never even checked that out. That's pretty intense. And these people, these facial expressions are nuts. Okay. Man, look at that. Okay. So there's a lot here. I should have read more up on this before. Okay. This is Howard Chandler Christie. So I'm just seeing lots of ink. In everything that this book showed, they did not show anything in charcoal. They did not show anything in oil paint. They did not show anything in watercolor. It's all pen. And in the images that I got online, that's Norman Rockwell. Okay, so let me zoom back in. In the images that I got online, there were a few from the Library of Congress that were whatchamacallit. It was pencil first and then pen and ink over the pencil. Okay. So this book, it's huge. You see how big it is? I mean, it's got some incredible artists inside. I was obsessed with this book when I first became an illustrator. It's old. It's an totally old book. Okay. Where am I? What are we going to do here? Okay, so we're an hour and 10 minutes in. I think, I think it was like during World War II, 1942 or something like that. My artist brain got tricked. I thought you were drawing on the Cintiq. Oh my God, that's pretty funny. Yeah, I know. Aren't they really good? Just looking at the chat, people. Okay, so I'm going to just try to do one out of my imagination in this style. Okay? A try is the key word. And let's do this. Let's do this. So I'll use so this is what I've drawn here so far. Today in our class, we just did some studies, and they're really cool. And I did kind of learn a lot last week, if I can find it. Oh, yep. In my Zoom class at drawingtutorialsonline.com, we had a how to draw hands class, but what we were doing was we were drawing J.C. Leyendecker hands, which are absolutely beautiful. And we spent about 10 minutes on each hand. It was cool. It was cool. Okay, so the canvas color is gray, which is relaxing color to the eyes when drawing for long periods. So my paper looks gray. Okay, hold on. Let me go to Gib 1. Actually, let's go to Gib 5. I'm just thinking here. I'm going to move this over. Let's just keep this as like a little indication of style right there. Okay, my paper is white. It's not gray. The reason why it looks gray is because my white balance is focused only on white paper. It's not really focused on much of anything else. And the best way to deal with this when you photograph your artwork is to always have a grayscale nearby that you can put into the scene so the camera focuses on something else besides. Now, I could go, and I'm sure I can play with the camera settings and all of that, but the more I put down on the paper, like I should go across the room and get a drawing and put it down on the paper, and you'll see it will get a little bit more true. I'm just looking. What can I get across the room? Let me get this thing. Hold on. So if I put this little sketch here, didn't the paper all of a sudden get a little bit whiter? Yeah, it did. And now watch when I take this off of the scene. Paper got a little bit darker. Okay, back on. Paper got a little bit lighter. So this was a drawing. We were drawing 4 heads in 1 hour, and we were drawing how light and shade affects mood. That was my Zoom class for members of DTO, and that was a really good class. So we chose like 4 different light sources and how those light sources affect the mood of a portrait, and I like this one the most. And we were drawing fast. We were drawing really fast. I think that's with the, whatchamacallit, it was with this pencil, the Blackwing 602. This is not the Cola Race. We just went crazy with it. And yeah, okay. Let's draw a head out of our imagination, and I'm going to start to draw an eye the way that Charles Dana Gibson did. Let me get my pencil. And actually, before I start, I just want to get a little drink of water. Yeah, agreed about the hair. Okay. So let me mark my sheet of paper so I have room. Or not room, just so I know I'm on the screen. Okay. So I can always zoom back out. Okay. So I'm going to do the Charles Dana Gibson eyebrow. Do I have enough room? Yeah, okay. Charles Dana Gibson eyebrows. Charles Dana Gibson lines around the eye socket area. And oh, is that too low? I think it's too low. the thicker, whatchamacallit, gesture across. Thicker eyelash, tear ducts. I don't like drawing with this thick pencil, but it's trying to get out of my comfort zone a little bit. Trying to zoom in a little bit. Come on now. Maybe I need to replace the battery in the remote. Okay, cool. Let me move the sheet of paper over so you can actually see my hand drawing a little bit. Almost there. So now with the Charles Dana Gibson, what Gibson did was on the outer third of the lower eyelash, they did a couple of lines there. This could be thicker. Okay. And now let's do the eye. With a black pupil that on the Gibson drawings blended in with the lash. Yes, and then there were a couple of lines on the inside like that. And then over here I'll try to mimic so I can get the eye somewhat looking in the same direction. I really didn't leave myself enough for the lower eyelid there. Shame on me. I'll come back, and then Gibson just did like 2 lines on one side of the nose. The nose was, I don't know, Christopher Hart. So let's do the nose, which is pretty close to the eyes. And so Gibson did this thing with the nose that was looping down. With the triangular nostril. That nose needed to be a little longer. So I'm going to erase out this top line so I can maybe make that nose look a little longer. And then he usually did that little dimple, and then usually did upper lip as being shaded. Now I'm already going too wide with that. My God. Okay. So it goes up, goes down, goes up, goes down. And then what did we say about the Charles Dana Gibson? They did these diagonals on the upper lip. And then the lower lip had this, and then around, 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 around. I got to sharpen the pencil. So then what we also saw with the Charles Dana Gibson was the line on the side of the face totally came down vertical like that and went with the lay of the land. And this meshed with the eye socket, which had a couple of lines like that. Now, I should put in the upper eyelid. That would be helpful. Not loving it, but we're going to keep going. So this. Now, we didn't talk about the necks as much as I would have liked to. But on Charles Dana Gibson's necks, like the lines went around like that. And hair. Bear with me, I'm going to zoom out. Yep. Hair would be, there was always some sort of like a curl. And I'm glancing at a couple of them. But this is out of my imagination, the eyes and all of that. Downward pencil stroke, downward pencil stroke, downward pencil stroke. And yes. He did this on the neck, which goes against what I talked about for most of the class. The eyes need to be closer together. Let me fix the eyes. Yeah, eyes. Okay. I don't have the highlights in the eyes. Doggone it. Okay. Angles. Being a little sloppy right now, but it's fun. Okay. Not my favorite, but it's all good. I'm learning here. Kind of looks, yeah, so let's do this. Let's keep going with it. I'm just going to try to push it. I'm smudging it and shit. I don't care. All right, so that's my quick Charles Dana Gibson. This is ginormous for me for a portrait. Oh my god. Let me zoom out. And I'm going to I did learn a lot today in today's class. I really did. Some of these things I usually teach my students not to do. But I think as a teacher, you have to really always challenge what you teach. And what I teach has gotten me far with my own illustrations and making. Let me get my bridge. I don't want to smudge this. Hold on. This is a bridge. It's a little piece of wood, and you glue another piece of wood to it so your hand doesn't touch. I don't know if I want to deal with this right now, but I have to have my hand on something. I'm trying to think of the hairstyle. I'm trying to be a little bit more linear. You don't need to outline everything. Um, this is weird for me. Oh my God. Okay. I think I'm going to quit while I'm ahead here, people. I'm drawing without my hand on the paper. I am doing so much different shit today. I would never do this stuff. Like never. This is not me. But it's fun. It's fun. Let's tilt down this eyebrow. Oh, my pencil is not working. So I want to just get my Charles Dana Gibson, the first one that we drew, how there's angles on the top. Okay. The eye. Okay. The lines over there. Okay. This one I like the most. Okay. Let's try to bring some of that into the mix. I think I'm going to leave it at that. Yeah, this was fun. This was fun. This drawing for me is so out of my comfort zone. So I'm just showing you how you could try different things and don't worry about like screwing up and just kind of have fun. Yeah, and cool. All right. Love it. Okay. Any questions before we call this live stream done? I'm sure he does use different pressure. It is harder than it looks. It is harder than it looks. So, like everything else in life, you just got to, if you do like this style, it's important that you give yourself like a little time for it to evolve. The nostrils need to be darker. Okay, let me try. I never do this. This is weird. Um, Appreciate that, Batman. This is getting out of my comfort zone. You all on YouTube won't tell anyone that I did this drawing. Absolutely, you will not. Now, the finisher in me wants to finish it and make it look the way that I draw, but I'm trying not to do that. I'm just trying to be playful with it. Really pressing down hard on my pencil. Oh my God. Insanely hard on my pencil. I'm just looking for a longer pencil. Timeout. Yeah. Okay. Um, Appreciate that. And interesting. So the way that you improve is you stick with one thing for a while and you don't keep jumping for all different things. Um, I think that's a really important way to improve. Some people are always switching up their style, their technique, and they never stick with something long enough to let it blossom. So what this was about today for me was just analyzing the artwork of Charles Dana Gibson and doing it together with you here on YouTube to see what we could learn together. And I learned some new stuff, and I've got now some ways to draw people out of my imagination with those types of facial features because it's kind of always the same. And cool. Um, I don't think that these drawings took Charles Dana Gibson long at all. So at least not these Gibson Girl portraits, the ones that I'm showing you here today. So I think if he made a mistake, he would either white it out or do another one. Like, absolutely. Yeah, it's too easy to get like trapped in doing the same old. Because if you remember, I used to. Well, you probably don't remember, but I'm sure I've told this story 1,000 times before. That I basically drew with tone most of my life, which is like drawing like a painter. And then when I started teaching in the animation department, I had to learn how to do gesture. And a gesture could be with tone. Now I know that, but I didn't think that then. And I started figuring out, well, how the hell do I draw with line? And that was really difficult. And so, yeah, it's really good to do both. Okay. So I think that's all I got for you today on this live stream, people. I've got to prepare for my Zoom class for members of drawingtutorialsonline.com. We will be doing these Charles Dana Gibson heads also. I have a couple of different views that I'm going to do, and I think we're going to just draw a full head on my Zoom class with all of the kit and caboodle. And I think that's going to be really, really fun. The other thing that I forgot to mention, yeah, thank you, Lenny, was that Charles Dana Gibson really keeps this part of the face completely empty. Completely empty. Like 1, 2, 3, these lines right over here are kind of no good. And I don't like them. I think they're a little distracting. And when you look at Gibson's drawings, there's none of that. There's none of those lines that go horizontal like that. Well, it's not horizontal, it's a little curved, but most of Charles Dana Gibson's lines went vertical like that with the lay of the land. Yes, Sandy, thank you for joining me. Okay, so I'm going to put this to bed. And again, like this drawing for me is ginormous. Holy, I never draw this big. This is 8 inches tall. Usually a head for me is like 4 inches tall. And yeah, so let me switch cameras so I can say goodbye to everybody. Yeah. Oh my God, this thing is a monstrosity. We're gonna. That's my Charles Dana Gibson girl. Not loving it, but it has a little flair to it. Um, totally. I do like these. These are really super pretty, especially yeah the one there that I really super like. All right. Cool. Any last questions before we call this one done? Oh, I was supposed to show you that website. If you want to leave, I understand. Let me share my screen and let me make sure I have the website. Got it. Okay, let me do this. I'm going to share my screen. I think it would be helpful for you to find out this. I don't even know how to pronounce the website. Okay, let's go back here and let me share my screen. Sweet. Okay, so this is, I can't, Mr. Druge? I have no idea. Um, Mr. Druge, I have no idea. But there's some good stuff on this website. Okay, so, and when you click on the artwork, look at those eyes. It's the same thing. Okay, I think we all learned something really good here today. And look, we can even zoom in more, can we? No. Okay, let's go back. Here's another face that looks amazing. Look at that. It's the same thing, people. I don't like the darkness under the lower eyelids. That's just me. Um, wow. And so this website is meisterdrucky.uk. So maybe, yeah, Meister. I'll put the link in the show notes down below. I promise I will. And it has multiple pages. Oh, God, what the hell is this? That's different. That is amazing. My God. Maybe I'm going to do that one in my Zoom class. That is gorgeous. That is thinner line. That's more of a painterly pen and ink with the eyes. And that's what that just to me reminds me of like pencil. It's absolutely stunningly gorgeous. Um, and yeah, good stuff. Okay. This is a great website. This is a great website if you're really interested in looking at more of this artwork. I promise you I will put this in the show notes down below. It goes on, and then there's like a wiki art. I'm sorry, Wikipedia, Charles Dana Gibson, and if we click on this, and this is, let's go to the first one. Yeah, old school, 1867 to 1944, 1925. These are small. Okay, you get the idea. Cool. Where's my software? Let's stop the share. Cool. And let's go back to YouTube. It's a German site. It means master prince. Thank you, Lenny. Elizabeth, I never said I'm good with pronunciation. I was only blessed with one thing. That's learning. That's drawing. The rest of it I suck at. Have a good day, Elizabeth. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Yeah, his stuff is great. Really good. All right, everyone. Thank you, and I appreciate you being flexible with me. I normally do this on Monday, but I just had to do stuff on Monday that I couldn't get out of. Um, awesome. And for those of you who are members of DTO, I will see you at 2 o'clock for our class. Cheers, Paul. Have a good day, everyone.